Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Kai, and in today's video we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the photos and videos that you get out of the classic Canon 4000D DSLR camera versus the Apple iPhone 14 Pro. This was the most voted for video in my community poll, so that's what we're talking about today. And if you want to see more content of what you want, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for any polls. Okay, so let's jump into this. First up, let's look at the Canon 4000D. The Canon 4000D is an entry-level DSLR camera that was released in 2018. It is currently the cheapest camera that Canon sells, which is why a lot of people who are starting out in photography are interested in this camera. It has a crop frame 18 megapixel sensor. It has 9 autofocus points, a continuous shooting rate of 3 frames per second, and it shoots HD video up to 30 frames per second. The iPhone 14 Pro has 3 cameras on the back. The main 48 megapixel quad pixel camera has a 24mm and 48mm focal length. The telephoto camera is 12 megapixels with a 77mm focal length, and the ultra wide camera is 12 megapixels with a 13mm focal length. You also get a front facing selfie camera that has a 12 megapixel sensor. The iPhone 14 Pro also shoots video in 4K up to 60 frames per second, and it's armed with inbuilt stabilization, cinematic mode, and slow motion features. But before we get into all of that, let's do a side-by-side comparison of the photos. Let's look at the photos taken with the Canon 4000D first. Now, these photos were shot on the 50mm 1.8 lens in manual mode. And if we look at the JPEGs taken straight out of the camera, they're pretty vivid and the details are sharp-ish. It can be a little hit and miss when it comes to the focus with the 4000D, but you do get some great shallow depth of field on these images and beautiful bokeh. So moving on to the iPhone 14 Pro photos, these were shot in vibrant mode, straight out of the phone. At a first glance, they look pretty good. However, if we zoom in and do a little bit of pixel peeping, we can see a very digital looking image when compared to the 4000D. But I would say that pictures like this are great for social media, where your images are going to be compressed anyway. It does have a Pro RAW option to shoot better quality photos, and one solution to help you get rid of that digital look would be to consider using a mist filter like this one from Freewell, which helps to smooth out the look of your photos. I'll leave a link to the Freewell Sherpa system down in the description below. I'm meeting up with a friend, someone that I went to school with, so primary school, secondary school, and even college, went to the same college. I'm going into the city now to meet him, and I've also told him to prepare himself for a photo shoot. So I said, look snappy. He's told me he's going to be there at 1:30, and I know he's always late, so I'm aiming to get there for 2. Okay, I just arrived, and it's 2:15. So by the time I get up to the top of the hill, it's probably going to be 2 o'clock. So let's see if he's there or not. Yeah, no, he's not here, so I'm going to grab a coffee. So I'm just texting my friend now to say that I've just arrived and that I'm wearing a bright blue tracksuit to keep an eye out for me. So let's see if if we can see him like looking around lost. Okay, my guy is more than an hour late now. I am freezing. So he's definitely gonna be buying me a coffee, I think. Okay, he's phoning me now. Let's see if he's here. Where you at, man? Whereabouts? I'm wearing a blue tracksuit. Can you see me? There he is. He's here. Can't see me. Look, there he is. Straight out, just filming him. Look at his own. Oh. How you doing? My main man Scott here. Haven't seen him for how many years has it been?
3 years or so.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah,
we met up before the pandemic.
4.
I mean, this isn't really slick, is it? Like, what is...
No.
Where are you planning on getting changed? This is what I don't understand.
I thought it was like a toilet or something.
Yeah, there's a toilet around here. Okay, let's go. Look at this. Okay, so now look. let's get the face focus. Look at this, much more presentable. So we're gonna do a photo shoot, Scott.
Yeah.
And the idea is to test this camera out here.
Okay.
The Canon 4000D. It is the cheapest camera that Canon sells.
Yeah.
And we're gonna compare it to this phone here.
Oh, right, okay.
The iPhone 14 Pro. And you just have to look cool. Can you do that?
I can try.
So I've done a few shots with the Pro Raw and also color graded a little bit as well, just to see how it turns out. Would you still consider getting something like a 4000D DSLR camera in 2023 versus just using your iPhone, like your iPhone 14 Pro? Let me know down in the comment section below. Okay, so let's move on to the video options now. The 4000D allows you to shoot up to 30 frames per second in HD quality. That's 1920 by 1080, but this is a bare bones camera. You're seriously lacking in features when it comes to using this camera for video. For example, there are no inputs for external microphones or headphones. There are no inbuilt speakers, so you can't hear the sound on playback through the camera. Just as a note, it does record sound, but you need to move that footage over to a PC or Mac in order to listen to it. Also, there are no advanced focusing or tracking systems in this, so you will have to manually focus your video, and there's no inbuilt stabilization. So if you shoot handheld, it will be shaky and you will probably have to use a gimbal. Additionally, it has a fixed screen, which makes it really difficult to vlog with. Also, this is not a touch screen, just FYI. All in all, it's a lot of work to use this camera for video. It's not impossible, it's just a lot of work. Comparing this now with the iPhone 14 Pro, where you have a plethora of video options. You can shoot 4K video up to 60 frames per second. You can even shoot up to 240 frames per second on this phone. You have a built-in stabilizer, so you can even run with it in your hand, and it does a great job of stabilizing your footage. It has great inbuilt microphone and speakers already, with the ability to add external mics and headphones as well later on. It has tap focus, which we've come to expect of most modern phones and cameras, and it has something called cinematic mode, which I think looks pretty awesome. On top of that, you can film in ProRes mode for great quality video. It does consume a lot of memory, so bear that in mind if you decide to shoot in ProRes. And being a phone, you can download apps like Filmic Pro to shoot pro quality video to better color grade later on.
I guess you were always scared, weren't you? That I'd be a psycho, just like my real mum, hmm? That explains all the tone it down and try to fit in stuff. Love me into shape, I suppose, was the plan. And I tried. I really tried because I loved you. But you see, the thing is, I'm not sweet Estella. Try as I might, I never was. I'm Cruella.
An important factor to weigh up here is of course the cost. The 128GB version of the iPhone 14 Pro is currently £1,099 or $999. The Pro Max is £1,199 or $1,099, and this goes up depending on the storage. The Canon 4000D is currently selling on Amazon for around £300 with the kit lens, and around $400 with extra accessories in the United States. So which one of these should you consider for your creative needs and why? Well, both the Canon 4000D and the iPhone 14 Pro are great options for photography. The Canon 4000D is a beginner's photography camera. That's what Canon has marketed it as, and it does a great job of being that, a beginner's photography camera. If you want to learn photography, get this camera. You will learn all about how to shoot in manual mode, adjusting your ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. I have a step-by-step guide that can help you with that, and I'll leave a link to that down below and up above. The iPhone 14 Pro, being a phone, is much more intuitive, where you simply need to point and shoot and you can get an in-focus vibrant photo. It does have much more digital looking images, but I'd say that they are perfectly good enough for social media, and being a phone, it's much more convenient and easy to use when you are shooting on the go. Okay, so for video now. For video, I would have to give the 4000D a hard pass. It's not impossible to use this, but the lack of functions makes it really difficult to use for your video projects. The time, the effort, the retakes, the headaches, and the stress that it would cause me using this for my video productions makes it not worth it, in my opinion. The iPhone 14 Pro, on the other hand, is built for on-the-go, good quality video. Whether you're shooting vlogs, travel videos, shorts, reels, how-to videos, it's a Swiss Army knife for content creators. And if that's what you're looking to get into, then I'd think about investing in Apple's latest offering. So those are my thoughts on the Canon 4000D versus the iPhone 14 Pro when it comes to videos and photography. But what do you guys think? What have your experiences been? Let me know down below. Don't forget to drop us a like, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And now that you've watched this video, check out my iPhone 14 Pro versus series against several other Canon cameras to see how they perform. In the meantime, stay creative, stay safe, imagine, implement, and inspire, and I'll catch you in the next video.